my peeps. Today I am talking about relationship success. One of the biggest things that I have learned from being with my husband for 26 years and being married 23 years, for about the first, honestly, 15 years of our relationship, I was in the dynamic that I believed that I needed somebody to fix me and that my partner was the person that was there to heal my wounds from childhood, which is a very common dynamic when you were young. And I spoke about that a little bit in my last video on betrayal. It's very common. It's a very common dynamic, even for people looking for partners, thinking that I need to find this perfect partner that will fix me. It's not about that. The way to have a successful relationship, in my experience, is having shared values, shared vision, you don't necessarily always have to have things like similar interests. My husband and I don't really. It's more about being willing to be vulnerable, being willing to own up to your own shit, and being willing to have the strength to face it so that you can transcend it. You cannot transcend anything in your life until it becomes into your awareness. So that's a really important lesson that I've learned. It's really important to speak your truth, to be fearless, to be willing to be vulnerable, and laying blame. It's very easy for us in arguments to, you did this to me and it's your fault, blah, blah, blah. But really, whenever we get reactionary, it's because of an emotional trigger that's happened from trauma from our past, or anything that's set us up, that's upset us, that's still in our consciousness. Everything that we have been around, we don't really understand that our consciousness sees everything around us. It absorbs all the things that you don't think that you see, that you don't realize that is actually in your awareness. If you become hypnotized, you are able to recall memories that you would be surprised that you don't even realize that you have. Our subconscious minds absorb everything around us, including everything that is not in our external vision that we pay attention to. Every single thing our subconscious absorbs into our minds. I would encourage you to work on yourself first. You really have to be willing to accept every flaw that your partner has, which is when you're especially in the beginnings of a relationship, you're stuck in that romantic phase. You don't really show who you are because you fear that you won't be accepted for it. So especially for things like first dates, we put on a perception of what we believe someone else is looking for many times, rather than being ourselves, showing who we really are. We try to become the perfect version of what we believe our partner expects us to be. And if you're going into a relationship like that, you're not really being honest about who you are. It's very important to be honest about who you are. If you're looking for a life partner, be honest about your goals, be honest about your vision, be honest about the type of relationship that you're looking for, the type of connection that you're looking for. Sex is a huge part of a relationship. I'm pretty open-minded when it comes to things like that. There's a lot of different alternative lifestyles that I'm not really against. I don't put judgment towards what other people's decisions are that are right for them. It is actually interesting. The more open you are about your sexual needs and the more you're willing to embrace them, the more you can actually connect with your partner. And I know a lot of us are scared to share what our sexual needs are because maybe we have shame around them, possibly because of past, let's say even like religious beliefs or what society has dictated. I'm very much about owning your truth, owning your needs, owning who you authentically are. And my work, I'm hoping to be able to encourage you to embrace that about yourself, to embrace your truth, to embrace who you are inside, not who you deem that you are supposed to be, which is acceptable to others in society. The more you honor yourself, the more confident you will be, the more self-assured you will feel, the more fearless you will feel going out into the world and trying to embrace the things that you would like to create for yourself. I'm very interested in the nature of belief, why we believe the things we do, why we react the way that we do. I'm very aware of emotional triggers. Anything that if somebody else becomes upset about something, it's because you've triggered something in them. One of the best things that I've ever heard, I don't know if you've ever heard of the book, The Four Agreements. The first agreement in that is do not take anything personally. And that is so true. When someone else gets triggered by a reaction, it's something that's triggered from their past. It's not necessarily anything that you have done that may offend them. We all have triggers. We all have wounds that become exposed when we react emotionally to something. And emotion takes us away from logic. If we are in an emotional mind and we react to things emotionally without really putting thought into them, we don't really make the best decisions. And in relationships, especially in fighting, things like that, we react very emotionally. My husband and I are still oil and water. We really are, but we've really worked hard on communication, on honesty. It's so important to be honest about things. And I'm not just talking about deception. A lot of us in lie detection, things like that, a lot of the time, part of it is like omission. We tell half truths. We don't necessarily share all of certain things sometimes. And we do that sometimes to protect our partners, to protect the people that we love in our life, because we don't want to hurt them. For many years, my husband felt that he needed, and I'm sorry, my cat's playing with a toy, so you probably hear that. For many years, and he still kind of feels this way, he's had this need that he's felt like he's needed to protect me, which is a very instinctual thing with men. They have that sort of protection mechanism within them, so it's very common for men to feel like they need to protect us. I've been trying to, for years, say, you don't need to protect me. I'm a strong woman. I'm able to handle things on my own. I'm able to handle adversity. And the stronger you are, the stronger your relationship is going to be. The stronger that you become in your own person, the stronger your relationships will be, because you're more honest about yourself. You're more honest about your needs. You're more honest about what your desires are, what you want as your shared future. It's very, very important to communicate. It's extremely important to communicate. And there's many times where we're really scared of telling our partners what our needs are, or that they become resistant. What has been a common pattern in our relationship, because my husband, he has a hard time with expression of emotion when it comes from me, and I'm a very emotional person. I'm a very expressive person, a very creative person. I say what I think at all times. I share my truth at all times. I believe that that's important. And many times he would cut me off because of his discomfort in the emotion that I was expressing. And that's something that we have worked on and that we are working on right now. And honestly, if you face up to the things that you need to in your relationship, and you're both owning up to your shit and both being willing to forgive your partner for the mistakes that they make, because we all make mistakes. We all screw up on a daily basis. Don't be afraid of failure. Failure is how you learn. Failure is how you grow. For most of my life, I was terrified of failure, so I wouldn't try. I have worked very hard to come out of that dynamic, because it does not serve you. Being stuck in fear will not serve you. Learning how to overcome that, there's so many ways that you can do that. I've learned so much just on YouTube, really. There's so much amazing information. This is the information age. You can be mentored by anybody in this world now. Just finding people on YouTube or on blogs or different forums or on social media that resonate with your belief systems, resonate with your vision, who you wish to become. We are not broken as people. The self-help industry in some ways has done a disservice to us in that way. giving us the perception that we are broken and we need fixing. We do not need fixing. We need to relinquish our fears about ourselves and own up to who we wish that we could be and embrace that possibility. I believe anything is possible because it is, but you can't understand that, and it can't come into your being until you start believing that things are possible for you, that things actually can happen for you the way that you truly desire. You have to actually believe that you are worthy of it. You have to believe that it can come into your being. And I've learned to embrace what I call, and I guess it is called radical self-acceptance. And in learning to stop judging myself, I have learned to stop judging other people. The more judgments you have about yourself, and I know I've said this before, the more judgment you have in yourself, the more judgment you will have with other people. And I'm much more interested in the exchange of ideas than talking about the bad things or the salacious gossip about other people. That's a very common dynamic, and people do that because it's kind of a superiority thing. It feeds the ego. You feel like, well, look, at least I'm not that person. Like, at least, like, their life is a train wreck, and ha ha ha, and I'm superior to them. It's really how you feel when you're in that dynamic and when you're taking pleasure in other people's pain. And it's not a healthy dynamic to be in. It's not a healthy dynamic for relationships. It's not a healthy dynamic for your children. I really encourage you to think of how you treat your partner, how open you are to them, how open you are to intimacy. Intimacy is such an important thing. And as I said in my last video, men and women experience intimacy differently. Men, it's a generalization, yes, because everybody is different. Everyone has their own needs, their own desires, and their own ways of doing things, and their own ways of processing things. But men do tend to express intimacy more sexually than women do. Women need, as I said before, they need to feel intimately connected to their partners to want to be sexual with them. And many men don't really understand that. And if you're not getting your needs met, your intimate needs met from your partner, it can cause barriers in your relationship. It can cause you not to want to be sexual. It can cause you not to want to connect. And if you're not focusing on connecting sexually, it can really be detrimental to other areas of your lives, and other areas of your relationships. And it can make you vulnerable to things like affairs. And I'm not saying any judgment and things like that. I have certainly not had a perfect past. I am not a perfect person by any means. I'm just trying to share what I have learned with people and not say it in a spirit of judgment, but trying to educate you so that you can live better lives. Excuse me, I'm a little raspy today. And more meaningful lives of meaning, lives of purpose, lives of joy, lives of love, lives of connection. There are so many people that are lonely and disconnected in this world right now. And I really believe a big part of that is because we've been encouraged to think that our needs will be filled externally by things. We are such a consumer-based society, and I don't really think that served us. It feels good when you buy something nice. It feels good when you buy a new outfit. You feel more attractive. And I have nothing against that. That's not what I'm saying. But if you get caught up in that and you use that to feed yourself instead of learning how to feed your soul internally, how to connect to yourself, and the way that I have found works for me is by embracing my full authenticity and connecting to God, connecting to Source. I've had a very big spiritual awakening over the last 9 years. It's been a crazy ass journey. It really has. And we are very fluid. We don't really understand that. We think our personalities are fixed. They actually are not. We change by every experience that we have in life, every experience that we go through, especially through adversity. And what I have learned from having much adversity through my life, especially over the last 4 years, is that adversity does make you stronger. You start to, once you get through something that's really difficult, you actually can say to yourself, wow, like that was so hard. And I never thought that I had the strength to do that, but I got through it. And it shows you how to build on that strength, the more you're able to face things. I'm a firm believer in facing things fully and facing the facts of any sort of situation and facing the facts of any relationship. You can't change things until you can see what the problems are. And if you need to do anything like counseling, I encourage you to do so. Um, I, I, I just really hope to share things that make you build connection with your partners. Um, I've learned so much about that, and the transformation in our marriage has been astounding to me. For many years, I think we were kind of stuck in just, we weren't that connected. We fought a lot. I was very wounded. That really detrimentally affected things. And I see that in many other relationships. I see, um, especially when I was young, I saw this with many of my own friends, that they believed that they needed a relationship to make them whole and a relationship to fix them. Your relationship with yourself is the most important relationship that you will have. Your relationship to yourself, getting to know who you are, becoming extremely self-aware, considering what your inner motivations are for the things that you do. Once you start questioning those things, and I went very deep into my shadow. I went very deep into human behavior and the complexities of it, because we've been hit so much in our family externally by things and by people that really did not have very good intent, that lashed out, that spread rumors and lies that were untrue. I have educated myself in how people tend to manipulate others, what to be aware of, what to look for. I have educated myself in body language, microexpressions, lie detection, things like neuro-linguistic programming, which is a very, very interesting thing to learn. I really encourage you to look into the work of David Snyder. He has amazing videos on YouTube that can teach you so much about human behavior. It can help you in your relationships. It can help you learn what to look for when you are on a date. Little things like where your feet are pointed. These are a few little hints now. If you're out looking for somebody and you're trying to decipher whether somebody is interested in you or not, if you are, let's say, in a bar or you just meet somebody, where their feet and their body are facing is important. If you are facing towards them and they are facing sideways and their feet are facing out, that's a sign that they're not as receptive to you as you may think. Other things are how close they move to you. Your pupils will dilate if you're attracted to somebody. Even things like, as people build rapport, their drinks will even move closer to each other. Like, there's so many fine-tuned things that you can learn, and I really encourage you to look into David Snyder's work, because he has much on that I've learned that has really helped me in understanding human behavior. I've actually find people watching very interesting now, because I can see the little idiosyncrasies. I can see if somebody is attracted to somebody else. I know how to pick a leader in a group. I know how to see things that other people maybe don't see, that it's not into their awareness. I've educated myself. It's very important for me to understand my relationships in my life and to build intimacy with the people that I love, to be there for them, to love them where they're at, to encourage them, to grow with them, to offer whatever knowledge that I have learned through the years that may serve them, that may help them in their relationships, that may help them grow into their own authenticity, into connection with all that is. I know everybody has different faith-based dynamics, different faith-based beliefs. I won't say I'm not a Christian anymore. I still hold to many of the tenets of Christianity, because I believe in giving and loving and accepting. And I resonate so much with Jesus, how he accepted people where they were at, how he showed love, how he forgave. I'm much more interested in learning to forgive than holding on to resentments, holding on to anger. If you are holding on to anger against someone and you're unable to forgive them, you are the one that gets hurt most by it. It's not the other person, it's you. You are the one that is stuck in suffering. And I'm most interested in helping you learn how to transcend that suffering because I've learned how to do that myself. Which is a miracle to me. It astounds me because if you knew me years ago, and if you ask my husband, he will tell you it's the truth. I was a train wreck for many years, and my good friends that actually watch this video can attest to that. Hi, Tammy. I'm really excited you watched my video. I love you. And I'm really proud of the journey that I've taken and how hard that I've worked to come into my own. And my deepest desire is just to serve this world. It's not about me. It's about what I can give to you. It's not about the ego. It's not about trying to be somebody I'm not. It's not trying to be a famous YouTuber. It's trying to give what I can to serve this world because that's what it's about. And especially right now, we are in such a fear-based dynamic, especially with the COVID-19 pandemic. It's a very scary time, and a lot of people are really scared right now of their futures. There's so many people right now that I know that are suffering, that are scared they're going to lose their incomes. It's a very scary time, but I really want to encourage you to face up to your fears and understand that the more that you feed those fears, the more triggered you will be, the more you will be stuck in them, the more that you are on social media, the more that you read. Like, the media is so full of fear-based stories, fear-based opinions, and it's designed that way because it triggers people, which makes them more money. uh, I would like to educate people on that as well, because people are very naive that their screens are actually indoctrination devices. And I may be lashed out at for this, but it is the truth. There's a reason why they call things like television programming. When we are lulled when we're watching things, when we view things as entertainment and we absorb all that is on our screens and it goes into our unconscious minds, it creates our beliefs, it creates our vision of what we think the world is. So much of what is being excuse me, goodness, I hope I'm not catching something. So much of what has been spread right now about fear is causing so much separation, and that is not serving our world. We need to come together. We need to embrace each other for who we are and stop embracing victimhood and lashing out at things that we say offend us that are really minor. And I'm sorry, but that is the truth. Honestly, is it really worth you feeding your energy into feeling a victim and trying to get accolades for that? That's a very ego-based dynamic. It is not going to serve you in the long run. It's not going to bring you connection and wholeness and meaning and purpose, and that's what I'm trying to purport. I'm not really what you call a dating expert. I know a crap ton about dating, about male and female behavior. I will share as much as I can with you. I've honestly spent, because of being sick for so long and being at home for so long, I've used that time, I've used the last 4 or 5 years to immerse myself in knowledge. And honestly, it's not an exaggeration. I can't talk sometimes, I'm sorry. It's not an exaggeration to say that I've really... I've heard, and it's been purported quite a lot, that it takes about 10,000 hours to be an expert in any field. I've spent easily 6,000 hours immersing myself in knowledge, and I continue to do so because I want to be better, because I want to be able to serve you, because I want to be able to teach you how to make better lives for yourself, how to create deeper relationships, how to connect deeper with your partner. You really need to be honest about your needs and about who you are, and instead of laying blame, to say, this is where I'm at, this is what my needs are. I'm not trying to offend you, I'm not trying to trigger anything in you. I understand sometimes that some of the things I do may trigger things in you, and that it's hard to own up to your shit. It's hard to own up to your own things. All I am trying to do is own up to mine so that I can create a stronger relationship with you, so that we can move further, so that we can become stronger together, so that we can create more intimacy within our relationships, so that we can be more honest with each other, so that we can create stronger marriages, stronger just lives of passion and wholeness. But you have to learn to become whole yourself before you can really bring wholeness into anything else. And when you are in a dynamic of neediness, it blinds you to things like that. It blinds you to what your partner may need, because I used to get very offended by things like that. I used to get very offended that my husband didn't understand me, that when I was stuck in the depths of depression, that he didn't understand what that pain was. I would get really upset that he would be angry with me about it. And it wasn't that he was trying to be hurtful to me. I understand that now. It was because he was just frustrated and he didn't know how to process it. And so we've worked very hard on that ourselves in order to have a stronger marriage. And I'm so thankful that we do. After 26 years together, we've just gone through another big hurdle, but it's brought us closer together because we've both been very honest about what our needs were, about why we both reacted how we were. And I still get triggered by things. I can't say that I don't, but I'm working very hard not to, so that I remember that even though he was kind of a dumbass, he wasn't trying to hurt me. He was just trying to fill his own needs, and that we are all human. We all make mistakes. We are all vulnerable to things. And we just need to be aware of that, and need to be aware that when people get into the dynamic of affairs, it's exciting. It's very deceptive. We do tend to think because that spark is there with somebody else, or even if you are not pursuing an affair, but you're connecting emotionally with someone, and I guess that's called an emotional affair, that still is a danger if you're becoming more intimate with someone else and not sharing that part of yourself with your partner. And it's a really easy dynamic to get into. And I really believe that if you're in that dynamic, that the best thing that will serve you the most is asking yourself why you are in that dynamic right now. What is it that you're not getting from your partner? Because that's usually what it is. And it could just be wounds that you had from your past that you're being fed by somebody else. But those are always danger signs. And we are very unself-aware as a society. We're very unself-aware about our own motivations, about our own desires. And I encourage you to go deep and really question what those needs are. And I really encourage you guys right now to really honor the social isolation that's being enforced all over the world. It's a really difficult time because my immune system is compromised. It's important for me to promote that. And I just read a story, and I kind of ranted about it on social media because in Saskatoon, which is close to where I live, there was a young girl that came back from a vacation. She got tested for COVID-19. She went out on the weekend for a pub crawl, went partying, spread all her germs around everywhere. And then yesterday, I guess Monday, Tuesday, found out that she actually had COVID-19. And how many people did she put at risk? And another one yesterday at a Sangster's in a mall close to us, a woman came in there and it was on the news, and she was voicing that she just got back from the States, and instead of self-imposed social isolation for 2 weeks, she decided she was feeling fine, so she thought she should be able to go shopping and buy things because she thought she wasn't at risk. And I'm really proud of Sangsters for standing up to that and saying that wasn't right, and voicing that to the media, because it's not just about you. You may not die from this. If you get COVID-19, it may just be minor for you, but for someone like me, it could be the difference between life and death. It breaks my heart hearing about the 51-year-old who died, who had some health issues but was otherwise healthy and fit, and who died from it. And that's a tragedy. Someone that people valued and loved and contributed wonderful things to this world is now gone because of this illness. We need to understand that we need to take this seriously, that this is not a joke. It's very important to not just think of yourselves. And in our society right now, we're very encouraged to be self-absorbed, to only think of ourselves. And that does not serve the world. That does not serve humanity. What kind of world do you want to build? What kind of world do you want to leave to your children? Do you want to leave imprints of selfishness everywhere and not thinking of what's best for everyone? Is that the world that you want to create for yourselves? Is that the world that you want to live in? Is that the world that you want to pass down to your children? Because I certainly do not. I want to build lives and connection and healing and wholeness and reconciliation and stopping this dynamic of embracing fear and embracing victimization and embracing separation and going into little groups and becoming angry and fighting against one another. That is not serving us. The media is doing that. What you don't really understand is if you are in fear, you are easier to control. That is a huge thing that most people don't understand, and the media does. They make a shit ton of money about it. The reason why Donald Trump became president is because he was so promoted in the media. And the states, he's done some good things, but he's a very ego-based person. Our world is so full of corruption right now that it's really hard to trust anyone that is in any states of leadership. When you find out little things about them, there's dirt on all of them. If you really knew how the world was, it's very disheartening. But we can't make change in this world until those things like that come into light. So I really believe right now in our planet, it's a time of transition, that all the crap is coming to light, and it's happening that way in order for change to occur. And there is a huge spiritual awakening happening on our planet. I don't know if all my viewers will be aware of that, but it is really the truth. The way that I have been taught to understand it is that we are now in the age of Aquarius, and the vibration of our planet is raising right now, which is making us more conscious about ourselves, more conscious about truth, light, love, wholeness, peace. And I just wish to help you along your journey so that you can create richer, more beautiful, more meaningful lives, and that you can also contribute to this world the way that I'm trying to, that you can also spread joy and love and peace and connection and wholeness. And that's all I'm going to say for today. I went a little longer than I was kind of hoping to, but I love you all. I thank you all. Anybody that finds this, I just am hoping to serve you, hoping to help you create lives of value and love and joy, create deeper connections with yourselves, to create deeper connections to God, to Source, the All Mind, to all that is. I encourage you, if things like that resonate with you, to look into things like meditation, look into different spiritual practices that can help feed your soul. Meditation is also prayer, and I know that some Christians don't necessarily understand that. I know some are against the practice of meditation. Meditation is only becoming quiet and connecting to God. That's really all that it is, connecting to who you are internally and connecting to, like, God is not out there flying around as a person judging and shaming everyone. God is, the way that I really understand God now is it's not even he, it's energy. Everything is energy, vibration, frequency. The universe is made that way. What we put out is what we get back. What we give is what we receive. And we have to give in order to have it come back to us. That's just the way universal principle works. I encourage you to learn about things like hermetics, to learn about things like sacred geometry, which is so fascinating. It teaches you how intricate the universe actually is, how it comes together. I really encourage you to learn things about like Nikola Tesla, his understanding of frequency and vibration. He was very astute. He had a real understanding of how the world really works. If you really start studying things like very successful people, billionaires, the most successful people in the world really understand this. They understand everything is vibration, and that what you give is what you get back. How you serve this world is what will come back to you. It's not about being selfish. It's not about just thinking of yourself and doing things to serve yourself. It's about what you give. And the more you give, the more rich your lives will be, the more whole you will feel, the more joy you will experience, the more you will resonate with higher energies, the more you will grow, the more your consciousness will expand, and the richer your lives will be. So that's all I'm going to say for today. I love you all. Thank you so much. Peace out from Canada. Love you guys. This is Dina on Initiation to Truth. And please, if this serves you, please like, subscribe, and share. I would very much like to grow a tribe of people, of like-minded souls who want to grow in this, who want to grow in joy, who want to learn to embrace who they are authentically, who want to become more self-aware, and who want to serve this world. So please like, subscribe, and share. Love you. Peace out. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe and healthy, everyone. And I hope that all of you stay healthy, that your families are safe. And I really, really, I'm praying for you all. I think of everyone so much right now. It tears out my soul, the amount of people that are scared right now. And I just want to offer you some hope. So thank you. I said thank you 100 times. Love you guys. Peace out. Till next time.